Your entire wedding experience relies heavily on the vendors you choose to hire for your wedding. These are the people who are responsible for bringing your vision to life, from creating memorable experiences to documenting them in the perfect way. But there are so many vendors out there, and it can be hard to know where to start. You may even feel overwhelmed by just the number of options. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to hire the right wedding vendors for your wedding. Number 1 is to establish your priorities. Before you do anything else, you need to understand what's most important to you and your fiance. Is it photo and video, or do you really prioritize beautiful decor? Or do you care most about the experience that you and your guests will have overall? Make a list of your top 3 priorities and the vendors that would be associated with those. For example, if you prioritize the experience, the vendors that would be associated with that would be a planner, a DJ, and maybe the food. The second step is to do your research. The good thing about hiring a planner is that you don't have to do the research yourself. Your planner will likely already have that information or will do the research for you. But if you don't have a wedding planner, you can start your search on Google or Instagram. Those are usually the best places to look for vendors in your area. The good thing about searching on Google is you can check out their website and see what they're all about, and their packages and pricing might also be available there as well. And you can check out their Google reviews from past clients. And then of course you can go on Instagram to check out lots of photos and videos of their previous work. Doing this research online will allow you to make quick comparisons between vendors to give you a better idea of what specific qualities you're looking for in each vendor. You can also ask your friends and family for references as well. But don't just ask them about who they went with. Ask them what they liked or didn't like about the vendors that they chose. If there's anything that they would change, anything that they wish that their vendors did that they didn't do, or anything that they really, really liked that their vendors offered. Once you have those details, you can see if those characteristics align with your priorities, and you can decide if you would like to go with those vendors or if a different vendor would be a better fit for you. Tip number 3 is to meet with your vendors in person. Now, I don't think you need to meet with every single one of your vendors in person, especially the ones that you probably won't be interacting with throughout the wedding planning process too much or on the wedding day. So this doesn't apply to your photographer because you probably won't be interacting with your photographer too much throughout the wedding planning process, but they will be one of the main people you will be working with on the day of your wedding. So because of that, you want to make sure that you have a really good relationship with this person. Other vendors, like maybe the person providing your favors or your DJ, it might not really matter if you have a connection with them or not. And if they do a really good job of explaining what products they have or services they offer through email, then you might not need to meet with them in person at all. I recommend meeting with 2 or 3 vendors from each category. That way you have a good amount of options to choose from, but it doesn't become too overwhelming. When you're meeting with these vendors, refer to your list of priorities and use that to ask specific questions to see if these vendors would be the right fit for you. If you want more information on what questions you should be asking these vendors when you meet with them or when you inquire about their services, let me know in the comments below or DM me on Instagram so I can make videos about that too. The 4th tip is to hire early. The last thing that you want is to come across the perfect vendor when you're doing your research and then reach out to them and find out that they're booked for your day. To avoid that situation completely, start your hiring process early, especially for your top 3 priority vendors. And after you meet with them, don't wait too long to secure the booking. Keep in mind that most vendors don't consider your date booked until you've sent them a deposit and signed a contract. And the very last tip I have for you guys today is to work with professional wedding vendors. This last tip is most important because weddings are live events with a series of moments that cannot be replicated. Picture all of the precious moments you'll have throughout the day with your loved ones, and then imagine not being able to relive those moments because your photographer or videographer didn't have their camera on the right settings to be able to capture those moments seamlessly. Imagine being on cloud 9 and ready to dance the night away, but then having a DJ who doesn't transition songs the way you'd like, or can't gauge what the crowd is feeling. Or hiring a caterer whose food you've loved for smaller private events, but find them scrambling on the day of the wedding because they didn't have the proper equipment to keep the food at the right temperature, or didn't have enough staff to feed the guests in a timely manner. Weddings are completely different than regular events, and as wedding vendors, we do this all the time. We know these events like the back of our hands, but if vendors are not used to doing weddings, they won't have the experience that us as wedding vendors would have. So don't try to cut costs by hiring vendors outside of the wedding industry. Finding the right wedding vendors will be the determining factor of how your wedding turns out. You want to make sure that everything goes smoothly and that you're getting great value out of the vendors that you hire and that you trust them and you're excited to work with them. But you may feel pressured to hire someone quicker than you're comfortable with, maybe because of a discount, or you might feel pressured to hire specific vendors because maybe that's the same one that all of your friends have hired in the past. But don't forget your own needs and priorities along the way. They're different from everyone else's, and you deserve to have a wedding that feels like your wedding and not just somebody else's. I hope these tips help you hire the perfect vendors for your wedding day. Don't forget that you can always message me on Instagram if you have any questions, and the link is in the description below.